It was really good weather last week too, and I think we had a little bit of a smaller group because of that, but I'm hoping that there are a lot of the artists that we're showing the work for today so that we can hear from all of you, because it's been so great. So I am Amy Callahan, and I'm the director at Waterloo Arts, for anyone that doesn't know. And I just want to thank all of the artists that have applied for the show and all the ones that got accepted. The show, Diane gets the word out consistently, and so we have a lot of replies to the show. And I always say that this is one show, but it's not the only show that could have happened, because there's a lot of really good work that gets submitted. And I think, as Arnie has attested to many times in these calls, that it's difficult to pick the work. And I think it's just so hard to be an artist and put yourself out there and feel like, you know, you have to go through that kind of judgment process. And so I just really want to tell everyone, thank you so much for submitting your work. And I have really appreciated these calls and learning more about the art. And it's just like I was saying in one of, I think, these calls, that it may be something that we keep up after the this experience we're having, is after we all get through it, because as sort of a preview, because I think it's actually a nice way to get to know the artwork and focus on it and hear from the artists. And those are things that don't always happen during the opening. And so before this experience, I think I would have thought that that maybe would have diminished the experience of seeing the artwork in person. And I think actually it's only going to add to it. And we are still hoping to have this show. I'm trying to work out the details now, but we'll email you with all of those and get in touch. But we really would like to see all this work in person. And we usually pick the prizes after the work is hung. We ask the jury to pick the prizes then. And so we haven't awarded any prizes for this show. If for some reason we can't do it in the gallery, then we'll work out awarding prizes. But we wanted to wait with the hopes that we would still be able to put it in the gallery. It's a little bit trickier because we have 2 galleries that we partner with for the show, so that we're really grateful for. And I also want to thank Praxis Fiber Workshop and Brick Ceramic Studio. There are 2 galleries on the street. Many of you already know this because you've been to the show or been in it before, but it's a fun show because they're in walkable distance. And so you get to see other spaces in the district and experience those great galleries and creative studios also. So we want to thank them. And also Can Journal is a partner of ours and provides one of the prizes and some space in the Can Journal to profile the artists that they pick as their prize winner that year. So those are our partners. And then finally, I want to thank Diane Shoemaker, who is the founder of the show. And Diane has managed the show for 6 years at the same level of engagement or more each year. And just, it helps the organization in so many other ways also, and volunteers for many organizations throughout the city, just really dedicated to the arts and baseball, which is starting. Yes, Diane, I thought of you today. But Diane is So I'm just going to, also, I'm going to do a little housekeeping right now. And just to tell everyone that if you mute yourself now, then for some people, if you don't set the camera up right, like whoever is talking will keep coming forward, and that's who you'll be seeing if you hear noise in the background of their, that's being picked up by their microphone. So if you mute yourself, then when we have the artists come forward, like when we show the artwork, then you'll have to remember to unmute yourself to talk, and we'll give you a minute to do that because sometimes it's hard to manipulate all those things at once. But I just wanted to finish up and say that Diane is an artist and educator and nonprofit fundraiser, and she holds degrees in painting, printmaking, drawing, art education, and nonprofit management. So thank you, Diane. And Diane, did you want to say anything, or are you?
Just briefly wanted to, again, thank all of the artists who have now chosen to sort of pick us to be a show that they want to try to participate in every year. We have a lot of artists who enter year after year now, and hope that they continue to support Waterloo Arts, even though they may not get in the show every year. We also have other sponsors, cash prize sponsors and partners that have participated over the years, including the Sculpture Center and Zygote Press, and just last year, an old colleague of mine, a former workmate when I worked in the jewelry industry, his company, Tap Design.
Designs by Tap, or something?
Designs by Tap, that's what it is Todd Pownell and his partner Debbie Rosen have picked up one of the sponsorship prizes for small metals. So we've tried to expand ways for more artists to become involved and have the potential to get their work seen, and I think we've done a pretty good job of that, and really do want to thank everybody for, especially this year, entering the show. And even though we weren't exactly sure at the beginning how this was all going to work out. So again, about the muting, if you have called in on your phone, you may not be able to mute yourself, but if you could try to put your phone in a place where it doesn't pick up ambient noises, that will also help us when we go to the screen share and start to look at the work.
Yeah, I don't see anybody on the phone today, so
okay.
It might be easier. Yeah.
And Arnie is our now seventh juror. We did actually have a themed show before we started the Juried show. So Arnie joins the ranks of many jurors, including Teresa Benbissner and Rob Lair, and I've forgotten some of them. But what was the fellow last year? He was such a good juror from Mocha.
Anthony, no, he wasn't from Mocha.
Oh, not
Anthony
last
Master
year.
Mateo.
Was last year, yes. But in any case, anyway. We've had a broad range of jurors join us in this effort, and we do appreciate Arnie's help. It can be quite a daunting task. So Arnie?
Thank you, Arnie. Thanks for doing it during this difficult time of fitting other stuff in. So thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and share. And Arnie, you can introduce yourself more while I'm sharing this screen.
Okay. Hello, everybody. This is our third and final chat with the artists. And as Amy was saying, this is really exciting for me because I don't think I would have had the opportunity to talk with all 80 of you at the opening. So it's really exciting to see your work now. And for some of you, artists who I know, the way they set this up, I juried the exhibition blind. So I was choosing work, and then today I found out who some of you are, and I know some of you. So it's really exciting to have looked at this work as purely as possible and just judging it on a pure response. And I don't know if we mentioned it already, but we had a little over 370 some objects that were entered. So I made difficult cuts and then painful cuts and then cuts that killed me at the end to get it down to the 80 or so that we chose for the exhibition. So that really speaks to the quality level. And for a lot of you who are in the show, it was even a further struggle because I wanted, for some of you to choose all three of your works. So thank you and congratulations, and I'm excited to meet you all. I am the gallery director here at the Myers School of Art at the University of Akron. I worked at the Akron Art Museum for almost, 30 years in various, every position basically. And I'm teaching also arts administration here at the University of Akron. I sit on the board of Spaces Gallery in Cleveland and the Akron Soul Train here in Akron, which is a artist residency program. So look us up if you are an artist in the region who wants to do a residency program. We are operating and active, and the pandemic has not slowed us down. We're supporting people every month. So
that's so great. Arnie, how long are those residencies?
They're usually a month.
Okay.
And they're usually at this point they're from home, and then several months later, after you've produced the work, we do an exhibition or performance. And we're also a bit unique in that we're not just a visual arts residency organization. We have poets. We have our first choreographer this year. Filmmakers, any kind of creative endeavor that we try and support.
That's great. Yeah, no, you have had really great artists, so something everyone should check out. Okay, so, and I also just want to apologize that we've been having trouble with our website, and we have honestly tried to solve this issue and haven't been able to yet, which is that the images are coming up a little bit smaller than we would want. So I'm going to try to zoom in so that we can see them, but I think this is because maybe we have an old template that we're using for this website, and it's one of our goals to get a new one. So, okay. And the way we'll do this is we'll pull up the artwork, and then if the artist just wants to kind of come forward and tell us a little bit about the piece or your work in general, and then Arnie will talk with you about it. So is Jason here?
I don't see Jason in the room right now.
Okay. We'll wait.
We missed the call last week, right?
Yes, he did request to be put in a new meeting time, but I don't know if he got word soon enough.
Okay, well, if he comes
this week,
if we notice him in the chat later, then we'll bring it back up.
Okay.
We're going to keep moving through them if somebody is not here, because we just won't have enough time to have everyone talk. Is Pat here? He was going to try. Oh, great. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Patrick. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm so glad you could make it. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your work?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of my work has to do with the relation between personal like fragility, human fragility, and how that can be translated into my pots through the wood fire process. And so you'll see most wood fire plates will have like a steady stream of flame going through the surface of the pot. And for me, I like to hinder that flow and kind of create some sort of I don't know, reference to a phenomenological event or some sort of like stoppage to or hinder through that flow that then basically shows on the surface that, you know, something had happened to that surface to stop, you know, the normal wood firing process. And also a a lot of what it's about is it, you know, the basically what am I trying to say? Celebrating the infalities and the mistakes and the problems that can arise in the wood firing process, because so many of your pieces will, you know, not survive. Things will get knocked over by stoking the wood, and just putting your pots into such a extreme environment is something that I really enjoy illuminating in the surface of my pots.
Thank you, Pat. That was really enlightening. I sort of didn't know what to expect from your response to this work. And when I was looking at it, I really respond to works that have a surface that appears at first abstract, and then sort of that duality between abstraction and some kind of biomorphic action, you know. And there's several works that I chose in the exhibition that look like a confusion between macro and micro. Like this could be some kind of microscopic undersea world, or it could be some kind of pulled back look at the universe. And I really loved how your plate responded to a couple of other paintings and some other prints that are in the exhibition with that same kind of confusion of scale.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
And most of the color you're getting is all organic and somewhat accidental, correct?
So it's
Sort
not
of a
so
practice accident.
but it's kind of something that you can't really predict. So it's kind of, you know, I would use like basically just use like rice holes to stop the flame or the ash building up on the surface. And then at the end of the firing, when we're unloading, I can just kind of brush that basically turns into powder afterwards, because it doesn't really stick to your pots unless wood ash really builds up. So it allows those rice holes to come through into the surface.
Cool. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a really beautiful shape also.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that.
Nice. Yeah. Okay.
I can't wait to see these things in person.
I know. No, I'm gonna try to get this. I don't know why this is not. Can you guys see that? It is like not centering on my screen for some reason.
Oh, that might be the
tiled.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Oh, I think Eric just got here. Eric, are you here? Eric Rippert? You might have to unmute yourself, Eric.
Eric is in the room.
See if I can unmute you. Where are you? There you are. Here. Hey. Oh, there. Hi, Eric. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
You got here just in time. It's perfect. So we were just we're pulling up each piece and just kind of asking the artist to say a few things about it, and then Arnie will talk to you about it for a little bit.
Okay.
So you want to tell us about your piece here?
Sure. My piece. I can't. My piece, man head, lion body, started out as a portrait of kind of every man. And one day when I was finishing up work, I painted around the head this yellow glow that later reminded me of a lion's mane. It got me to thinking about inner strength, and and I started thinking about the Sphinx. And so I kind of made him like he's like a jungle cat Sphinx man. To this inner strength that he can channel when he needs it. Like during the day, he's just like normal. But sometimes he's got to rear up on his hind legs and get shit done. Can I say that?
Yes.
Say it, yes.
Okay, so that's
Well, Eric, Eric's one of the people that I know. Nice to see you, Eric. I was interested in this work because some of the recent paintings, I mean, I know you as a photographer, and I've seen your work evolve recently into drawings, prints, and now predominantly painting. And some of the other works that you entered were more abstract, and I was wondering if this if this is new or if this is a one-off with the figure, or sort of where this is coming from.
coming from, I think it's beginning with me dealing with the size of my canvas. When I started looking at abstracts, I started really large because I really that I needed to make grand, big gestures. Since the subject wasn't really about a thing, like my photographs were narrative, usually about a reference to some story or some book. These abstracts weren't about anything, so they were big. As I started to try to make smaller paintings, those weren't transactional. I was getting frustrated.
Yeah.
So I started to incorporate what I call things that are kind of recognizable, like people, buildings. And that's where several paintings have come from that incorporates a everyman or a portrait or a self-portrait. I think another painting that I'd entered in the show wasn't accepted, but it was also a portrait in front of like a cityscape, and that had been at the Rife Gallery a few months ago in the exhibition there. But I guess that kind of answers your question. Am I taking up?
And
time?
are we looking at spray paint there too?
I'm sorry. What?
Is there spray paint in there? It looks like it's airbrush or spray paint or something.
Yes, spray paint from a can, enamel from a can, acrylic from a tube. Hello?
So you're channeling your inner street artist.
I'm was using the spray paint to use a stencil effect where I was taking branches and leaves that I was finding in the backyard, and to incorporate this kind of jungle motif that the lion man is in. I was just using a quick kind of burst of color to create forms that would not reminisce, but refer to a forest or a jungle. But yeah, kind of ready to.
Love it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you much. I'm really glad to be in the show. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron, is Aaron here? Diane, if you can see. Let's see. I don't see Aaron. Okay.
Shoot, I was dying to hear about this.
I know.
Me too.
Me too. All right, well, we'll have to wait till the in-person show.
Yeah.
Okay, Virginia. Chavez, are you here? Let's see. Through my little list.
No, this is one of the artists that made recent work that directly related to the pandemic. This is, I think it's called Breathtaking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple of artists that entered very late that had work that was super responsive to what is going on right now. So that was really exciting to choose from a few of those.
Yeah. Okay, I
Okay.
don't think Virginia's here. And
Oh,
this is
Vera.
Anna. Let's see, where's Anna? Is she not here? I hope she's here.
Anna Roudson.
See. Yeah. She.
No.
Oh, Anna. All right, I'm gonna give her grief about that. Okay, Betty Rozakis.
She's in the room.
Okay, great.
I forgot to unmute. Okay.
Yeah, I know it's hard to remember that. Hi, Betty.
Hi. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for accepting my piece. I'm a senior, incoming senior at CIA, and I'm a glass major. And this was a lost wax piece that I worked on. And I have a background in graphology, and I like to capture the essence of people and their relationships. So this, I was really surprised at how this piece turned out, because I started off with individual masks and created a mold and wax pieces and sculpted it together. And it became what started off as individual faces ended up in relationships. And that's what I do. I study people, and that's what my background is, studying people and their relationships and the essence and character of people. And this became a tangible reality of what I've been doing in the past, I guess. So it was, and it's blown glass, and I don't know what else to say.
So you say that this is blown glass, but it's lost wax. So
Lost
you're
wax.
blowing into a form?
Yes. So it was I made a mold of the wax. Well, it was a long process. I had 4 images, and I made copies of those 4. It was a ceramic pieces, and I made copies of those, and then wax pieces of the mold, and then sculpted the wax, and then made a mold of the wax, and then melted the wax, and then blew the glass into that mold, and this is the end result. And then I had cold working and carved on it. It was a pretty long process,
Yeah,
but
it sounds like it.
yeah, but I really enjoyed it. It was great. It was great to see the end result.
Yeah, it looks like something that was maybe founded Pompeii or something. It looked so unearthed to me, which is what I was really intrigued by. And I love that you see the faces really emerge from what looks like an organic object. And I'm attracted to that also.
Yeah, thank you. And it was just nice what evolved. Well, the individual, say all the different types of relationships. When you see it in real life, there's individual relationships, difficult relationships, tormented ones, harmonious relationships, just all the emotions that people go through.
Wow.
Depicted.
Yeah, it's just amazing that emerged out of that process. So
Yeah,
congratulations. That's
Thank
great.
you. Thank you. It was a labor of love. It was really,
Yeah, it's worthwhile. All right. Thank you, Betty.
Thank you.
Jacob, is Jacob here?
Hi, yeah, I'm here.
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I'm trying to get this so that you can see. There's so much detail. All right. Tell us about this.
Okay. So I've never spoken outside of like a school setting before, so this is exciting.
So you can pretend we're the only ones in the room.
Yeah, we're not grading you.
Yes. So fun that way.
Okay, so this piece is like 1/5 of my senior show that had just digitally happened over this past spring semester. I am getting my BFA in sculpture and expanded media at the end of August. I just have like one more online class to do, and then I'm done. But my body of work for this spring was entitled Supple Orc Diaries. Supple Orc is this character that I found myself creating through in some sort of way. Like, you know, if for people who don't know what an orc is, it's like this like begrudging, like brutish minion of like the underworld that you see in like Dungeons and Dragons campaigns, or like Lord of the Rings, for example. But I think that a lot of times, like I identify as a queer person, and a lot of times it feels like I want to see more spaces where the complexities of the queer experience don't only embody ones that are digestible to the cultural norms. And I think that that's kind of what my project is about. It's like being able to encompass being like elements of being feminine and elements of being masculine, elements of being soft and elements being hard, and fluid. But this piece specifically, I came up with. I went to the thrift store and I had bought a shirt that said "I'm a goddess, any questions" on it. It was just like a giant shirt that I thought was interesting. And it had Betty Boop in the middle of it, and she was sitting in this heart shape. And I felt like when I wore it outside, and in my own little way, it was kind of like being sly and being like, I don't know, maybe it's just part of my personality to challenge other people to maybe think about what it means to be a goddess. And I'm a male presenting person. So, but, and this isn't like conscious, it's just like all subconscious. And, but anyway, so but I had this experience where I felt myself feeling kind of insecure. Like part of it was like, it forced me to like look my own insecurity in the face and be able to just be like, this is just the way that it is. And there's a reason why I feel like I'm drawn to being wearing this thing. And it kind of spun into this character of like being able to understand the structure of like a cartoon trope of the Betty Boop, and all the things that are associated specifically with Betty Boop, and being able to kind of subvert it and make my own, like validity is what it in an identity is when you decide that it's valid for yourself, and that's just the end of it. You don't have to, it doesn't nothing else besides what you decide is what your identity is, and it's just that simply. And I don't know if you could tell, but part of the image itself, the bottom half, like from where the clay pieces.
What happened to that part? Here, hold on. I'm going to close
okay.
it and then open it again. So, because I think it went on to the next detail. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, but the bottom half of the tubing, I had physical tubing like being ready to put on, but in the midst of the COVID crisis, like I only had the up from like the bottom of where the clay part and up was done, and I just happened to have a photograph of it. But so the bottom part's digitally rendered, but when I have a physical piece, it'll be like, I'll be able to put it back together again. It's still in the studio. But in me, like making a digital version of it, it kind of created this like interesting, this interest, because my work is about like the idea of a persona, and the idea of it makes me think of like this curated character that you kind of like, there's like an outline that you have to fill in, or like you can like set in your mind. Okay, thinking about social media specifically, or like social media interfacing, or specifically like like a social avatar identity, being able to create this image and being able to kind of fill yourself into the spaces that you say that you are, or you want to show other people that you are, and there's like a visceralness about the idea of doing that. And I think in it just happening to be half digital, it kind of creates that, like, you can't really tell which part specifically is physical or specifically digital. And sometimes it's just both. Like sometimes just your experiences are so influenced by so many things at one time that you can just exist, and it's all valid in some context.
Can you, I'm sorry, but can you tell me, like, what, I'm confused about what the actual object is, because I just think it's ironic. I think I was thinking that the tubing was somehow real, and the other was.
Yeah, I can see the tubing up to like where it joins is a digital add-on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw that when I was looking at
in real life. That tubing part, like all the way down to the bottom, is real. I just edited only that part.
Yeah.
But then it's just like part of that is like, if you want to argue that sculpture is the manipulation of any material, you could consider digital material as material and also doing the physical part too. I don't know. It's just something I'm experimenting with. But
well, that's really interesting. And congratulations, by the way, Jacob. There are a legion of artists that graduated this spring who had to abandon and refigure their senior exhibitions, either undergrad or graduate, and it's if you survived it, good for you. So because it was hard on a lot of people, and I can't wait to see this work in person. I'm glad that it's been juried into this show so you can see it in a context outside of your senior exhibition. One of the things I was attracted to in this, I always am attracted to pop culture references. And I read this secondarily as Betty Boop. And then I was like, oh, wow, she's kind of like, falling apart and ugly and made from the, weird detritus. And she's like turning into, roots and things. And really loved that disintegration that's going on. And it also reads digitally on this white background, kind of like an icon or something that, that was, maybe originally digitally made, and it's unraveling, and then I saw how big it is. So I'm really excited to see the thing physically, because she's large.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
So yeah, I'm really excited to see this thing in person, and I'm really happy that you were able to share her. I love how artists, buy a stupid T-shirt in a thrift store and then it becomes an object in their senior show. I mean, I love how that evolution happens. And it's often not explained, and it's oftentimes not the kind of thing you would hear at an exhibition opening. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jacob.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jacob, can I ask you, is the work, does it have a back as well?
Yeah, there's a little welded hook on the top part where the heart meets. It's like you need a big screw to hold it up, but it'll,
Diane already
but when you turn it around, it has.
It's supposed to be against the wall. If that's
okay.
Gotcha.
Got it.
Cool. Okay, John.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, I'm glad you could make it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thanks, Amy and Diane, for putting together this show, and also this process of being able to review and talk and listen to people's processes, and you, Arnie, for your insight. And it's really great. It's really cool to hear. And like you were saying, Amy, it's really nothing that you ever come across when you're in a show and you're in this venue of this gallery and everybody's drinking wine and
yeah, right.
So this is really wonderful. So,
yeah. For us introverts, it's nice.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pull up some of the details also as you're talking.
So John, is that the painting behind you?
Yes, it is.
Great.
I thought I'd bring it in and give you a sense of scale and whatever. But
So tell us a bit about the work, please.
it's a transparent watercolor. So everything's built up in layers of glazed watercolor. It's a tribute to my wife who successfully made it through several cancers. And during her last bout, she was laying in bed and looked across the room, and there was this chair that she had rescued from the garbage that was all tattered and shredded. And she was planning to repair it someday. But while she was laying there, she said, I'm going to go do that. And it motivated her to get out of bed and get involved into something. And kind of like a self-healing, she was healing the chair as it was healing her. It was a big art therapy project, and I wanted to show her victoriously in this chair, and that's why we called it our victory chair. And some of the areas are showing, I could show the patches that were made in there, but the details of the symbolic elements that are in there, the Chinese carton with the fortune cookie, with the fortune of breathe in faith, breathe out fear, which was our mantra that we said to ourselves, to each other as we were, and I was accompanying her through this journey and the struggle. And it really kind of gave us a really sense of relief and some calm.
So beautiful.
And the chair was a challenge in itself. And as I was working through it and incorporating my wife's figure into the chair and trying to meld the two and make them feel like they are loving each other in a sense, I decided to introduce some of the flower work from the pattern and grain it into her hair and make her feel like she's just being absorbed by this chair. And
that's one of the things I really loved about the composition, is that this figure is embracing herself, and she's, sort of hugging herself, and she's being wrapped up by the fabric, and the chair is hugging her. And then you've got the curtain around that. So it's like these layers of sort of protection. And I also really loved the way the textile is pulling into her hair, and sort of this magic realism of it all. And then when you look down, you're like, oh, and Chinese food and Lay's potato chips. So I love that kind of humorous punch to what at first glance is really, kind of a Renaissance, lovely still life. And I love paintings that, I can come to this as someone who doesn't know you or your wife and come up with something that probably would end up fairly close to your experience because of all the clues you've given us. And that's not easy to do. And it's also not easy to do in a way that's lovely and engaging, and I think it does all of that really successfully. And then I was shocked to see that it's watercolor, because I know that's not an easy thing to accomplish. Yeah, it's really remarkable.
Yeah, beautiful hands and feet. It's really.
And is this, when you were painting this, are you doing this from, she's not sitting there posing from life, you're creating?
No, I composed this. I photographed her in the chair. Okay. And used that as my reference. And, but I found symbols to represent the Chinese food and the potato chips, which were salty foods they recommended she take and eat prior to her coming to the clinic to have like chemo. And she was having a hard time with the veins being dilated. So they said salty foods will open them up a little bit, make it a little bit easier. And so we kind of love that because
Baked potato chips saves the day.
yeah, we love those chips, and they were fun to eat on the way on the way to the hospital. But you know, just something to cheer us up a little bit. But the background was I like that you brought up the curtains, because it was kind of the way this whole nightmare was revealed to us was like shocking. And what I wanted the background to be was, I thought about making it something specific, something like a landscape or whatever, but I decided to leave it vague and empty and almost so like a fog, which is kind of descriptive of where our heads were at that time, because you have no concept of anything in your future. You're always worried about what's going to happen next. And so that's a little bit of what that background is just showing the nothingness that you're facing.
Thank you. It's really successful, and a very difficult thing to do is to make art about something so personal. So I really commend you for that.
Thanks very much, and thanks again for including it. I appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. I think this is next. Bill Schaefer. Bill's here.
Is he not here?
I don't think so.
Dang it. I wanted to know what was going on in that thing. It's
No.
Emily Schmidt. Is Emily here?
Hi.
Hi, Emily.
Hello.
From Texas.
Yes, from Texas. I'm from Ohio, but
Oh, okay.
Texas right now.
Great. Well, tell us about your work.
Okay. So this was created as a part of my BFA thesis. And I kind of was just interested in memory and how like information is kind of passed down from generation to generation, and tried to preserve that, or how we try to preserve memories through either objects or recipes or heirlooms, whatever it is it may be. As my grandmother, my parents are aging, it's just always kind of like weird to see these shifts in the relationships, and also like this kind of loss of knowledge that's expected as you get older, but kind of realizing that you didn't take the time to get to know this person that was such a big part of your life, or or getting to know them while they were still a little bit more coherent, and could actually tell you the stories of their childhood and stuff like that. So I just kind of wanted to make work about that. And she's a big textiles artist. She was always quilting and doing that darning and stuff. So I used this fabric as a way of kind of paying homage to that. Like the textiles that we keep sacred in our household are kind of reminiscent of this grid. And I just wanted to encase it in a big block of resin to just kind of keep it safe. And yeah.
So the piece here is an original work of your grandmother's that you preserved, or is it a recreation?
This is a recreation. So I was making work on a loom, and she would do like hand work into like an already made piece of fabric. So she did something completely different, but I wanted to kind of sit with and meditate on like her memory, and while I created this work, and then encase it in resin.
That's great. I love the idea of preservation, because it makes you think of things, bugs trapped in amber, and so that some future person would unlock this piece of fabric from the resin. I mean, I think it's a really fascinating idea because, you know, textile artists don't often think so sculpturally. And I think that's really, really fascinating.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you.
I hope we can see it soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me too.
Thank you,
That's a
Emily.
great description. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I think Karen is
Hello.
here, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, hi, Karen.
Hi. Wow, this is so beautiful. It's so great to have a group of artists share their work is not only looks like, but what it feels like.
Yeah.
So, the name of this piece is Hills and Valleys, and it is what I call a fiber painting because I always wrestle between my mediums and my materials in my practice as an artist. I'm a painter, I'm a weaver. All of my weavings are done off loom. I use a lot of Native American knotting techniques as well as Irish techniques. My grandmother came over from Ireland. So this really reflects the process of painting with fibers. I may be choosing 4, 10 different fibers to work with, and you can clearly see the knotting that goes with it. Yeah, so Arnold, you talked about pop culture.
Mhm.
So I still have my records, my vinyl, I still have my record player, and I was really pissed off when Neil Young divorced his wife and took off with Daryl Hannah, so I stopped listening to him. I was like, oh, hell with a no. So then, I don't know, you know, I was drawn back and I wrote this poem, and the name of the poem is, I'm from Cleveland, grew up there. Once you live and grow up and your roots and your family is in Cleveland, Cleveland's your home. So we grew up on the Great Lake Erie. Our home backed up to the valley. So that's where I grew up. So I also write. So it's really, the poem is pretty important. So you want to hear it?
Sure.
Please.
All right. So it's called Upon Listening to Neil Young Again. I come from the hills and valleys of Ohio. Country girl of sorts, with big city ways. Sand in my shoes, wanderlust in my heart. I know how the wind blows when there's a storm brewing, a tornado cutting its path. Our senses are sharp. We can smell what's in the air. Times get simple. There's a way to be and not to be. It's nature's way, the Indian way. I come from Indian country where I walk through the woods without a sound, listen and look closely. A guitar strumming its simple beats, measured by a tapping toe, a nodding head, a voice that sounds not good, not bad, just sounds, the silent sounds of the heart. And this piece is a wearable piece of art. It cracks me up that I'm in a show and it's here in my living room. I've been having so much fun with that, I gotta tell you. So, la la. So what I did was, after weaving the piece, I got a canvas and painted the fringe, and on the fringe are the words of the poem. And I really think a lot about, I'm a national board art educator, about disabilities in people and the whole don't touch art. So like this meant to be taken off the wall and put on and worn and touched and felt, and super cool. And the fibers are delicious. And yeah, so I'm also really conscientious about some social issues, one of them being hunger in America. So with all my artwork, not that I'm like some rich person, but I'm better off than a lot than the guy who bought the bologna sandwiches for today. Any proceeds from my work goes to Why Hunger in America.
Thank you, Karen, and thank you for that poem. That was really lovely. Remarkably, I was listening to some Neil Young this week. He's someone that I came to very late in life, and just I can hear those sounds in the description of your walk. And I really loved this piece, and it's really hard to judge art, especially three-dimensional art or art that has any kind of texture to it from, you know, a photograph. And I really enjoyed seeing this piece as a landscape painting. You know, the stuff that's hanging down really looks like Spanish moss to me. I'm shocked that it's not. It looks like you pulled it off the tree. You know, it's incredible. The illusion is really great.
I live in Miami.
So, yeah.
So, yeah, I can't get away from that. But yeah, it also, like, pieces like all of that also kind of, it's like a double entendre. It's the roots,
Yeah,
which hold and which hold us. Like, I'm going to be honest, like, last year I was in this show and I was super excited because it was in Cleveland. So I was able to be in Cleveland and my family was able to be there and my cousins, and, you know, it was like coming home. And so I find that really important, you know, to celebrate where you are now and what's happening now, but also to remember and treasure that which formed you.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's great.
So
I
hopefully
can't
you'll be
wait to see
coming
it
home
again.
soon.
I know, right?
Thanks, sister.
Hey, that was my sister. Hey, Chris. Yeah. I don't. Sister.
All right. Thank you, Karen.
All right. Much love to everyone. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Okay, you too. Thanks. Okay, is Tara here? Let's see. Through my little list.
I don't think so.
Oh, shoot.
Darn.
Yeah, I liked her work a lot. I loved this title, What Are You Avoiding? As she's sitting there in the chair, you know, because I spent days looking at all this artwork and thinking about, you know, what was important in my life and where was I at, you know, and the only thing I could reflect with this exhibition and making choices was, you know, what did I respond to? And I really responded to this piece. It's called "What Are You Avoiding?" Because I was sitting in my house,
great.
not wanting to go outside. You know, and it's weird that, you know, works that, you know, may or may not have certain intentions gather, you know, incredible different meanings at different times in our lives. So
right. Well, especially with such a changed time. Yeah, it's interesting.
Remarkable.
Some of those pieces that were made for right now, and then other pieces that were like 3 years old that really make sense right now. Okay. Issen, you here?
Acronite.
Looking through my list real quick. I don't see
Done.
Issen. Okay. We've gone a little bit over, so we should keep going.
Yeah.
So everybody gets a chance. Megan, are you here? Oh, these are really
Megan's
beautiful.
another artist I know, and I didn't know this work by her. I was really surprised.
Wow.
She's a painter and a fabric artist, and here are these porcelain pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just found out today that it was hers. They're really lovely.
Yeah. So, all right. We'll have to talk to Megan in person. Heather, this is quite different than what was in last year.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep. Yes, we can.
Hi,
Hi, Heather.
everyone. Thanks for having me. It's really an honor. Yes, I guess I should start off. I studied photography, and film photography is my love. Recently, after a couple of decades, I'm exploring other ways and have really just fallen in love with using my hands and material, and sculpture in particular provides an opportunity to get all of the things out that you can't quite do with a 2D image. This piece, The Shroud of the Western Frontier, kind of says it all in the title, I'd say. Inside of the piece, there's greenbacks, which is a form of money from the States in the mid-1800s, glued inside on the exterior. Those are rolled up 50s and such. There's a lot of complexity here, but I'll make it brief. Initially, when I started building it in the early months, I was thinking of the mass slaughter of bison, the photographs from the mid-1800s of white men standing there with thousands of skulls, mass genocide, colonization. And as the months went by and it started to present itself more, and you almost get taken over while you're building these things, and I'm wringing fabric and have what appears as blood on my hands. I'm wiping on the materials and tying it, wars coming into mind, and trying to, even doctors trying to tie it up even though it keeps bleeding. And this piece is, while the piece is finished, the experience that I'm presenting is clearly not. So.
Wow, that's it's so fascinating what you can assume about something by looking at it and what it's made by. Because I was feeling very much the shrouding and the wrapping and the covering, but I was thinking more about our bodies and virus right now. I was thinking about cells and cancer, frankly, and the AIDS crisis. And there's just so much that can be read into this piece, which I think is also why it's successful, because it doesn't necessarily have to drive down your narrative. There's enough going on in this thing that you can see a lot in it, which is also not an easy thing to do. And is this paint?
It's resin with
resin. Okay.
That I've mixed. Yes. Okay. And fabric, where there's resin to kind of give it that shiny blood feel to it. Glue and water and paint and yeah, all kinds of things.
Cool.
That was a great description of the process, because I feel like you can see that process in the piece. Like it very much translates to all of that sort of angst and torture, and it's really interesting.
Well, and I also appreciate the fact that being inspired by something that was happening in the 18th, 19th century is still something that we're grappling with today. And there's a lot of that going on, obviously, right now. And I think history that's not dealt with festers. And I think that's a really interesting parable to a lot of what's going on right now.
Thank you so much, Heather. Thanks,
really
Heather. Anne-Marie, are you here, Anne-Marie?
Is Anne-Marie here?
She's not here? Darn.
I don't think so.
Oh, I haven't seen Anne-Marie in a while.
I know, I love this piece too.
Oh. All right, well, we'll have to move on.
Shoot.
Let's see. Is this also Anne-Marie's?
That's a
detail.
Oh, I see. Sorry. I was gonna say it looked like the same. Margaret? Is Margaret still here?
Margaret Thompson, she's in the room.
Oh, okay. Margaret, you might have to unmute yourself. see.
Hi.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I see that you're unmuted. Hello.
Thanks for having me today.
Thanks for staying.
I'm really honored to be a part of this.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about this?
Certainly. I have to take it in myself again, seeing it like this. It's been a long time. I had started painting when I was really young, and my first box of paints were given to me by a gentleman that he was a cobbler. He took care of shoes and shoes in our town, and he took very good care of my mother's shoes because she was diabetic. And she told him about me, and she told him that I like to draw. And when I met him, he showed me all his beautiful paintings in the shop, and he scurried around. He picked up a cigar box, and he picked up all these old tubes of paint with just squeezing out, oozing luscious colors. And he tossed them in the box. And he talked to me. And it was my start. So, and then to look at this, when I see here, this is many years past. I went to school and I studied, and I did more in the graphics and was able to work in the illustration field and technical illustration, and I could draw helicopters. And then I suffered loss. And after many years, this is what came out. And I heard about Van Gogh a few weeks ago that his thoughts were that everything's inside you and it just comes out automatically. So when I look at this, I know the day that I did this, it was, I'd been given, again, many, many years had gone by, suffered losses, spent years teaching children to read, write, and spell for a specific mind disability, dyslexia, very creative sort, the ones that think out of the box the most. 3 of those my own. And in the loss, all my things were gone, all my art supplies, my home, my children, everything was gone. So this is, in the time frame I received a box of paints, somebody's old paints, so these are very old colors, they don't carry the same brightness that comes from colors today. I opened these paints up and I was going to share them with the little boy I was working with one day. And he decided he wasn't interested, but I couldn't be wasteful, could I? No, so this is what I created. I had this parchment paper and this is what just came out. So again, I'm very honored and I really hope that my story of myself has some fluidity to it. It tells you where, and I reached back within myself and this is it. So, and it's called Full View.
Thank you for sharing all that, Margaret. This is really lovely. I always admire people that are able to show work that's so, I love sketches and I love things that feel fast, and this feels like just so immediate to me. And I really appreciate people that are able to work that way, because I'm the kind of person that overworks everything too much and can't let it go. So I love the freshness and the quickness of this. And I also love how it, your description of the old paints, which I didn't understand when I read the medium, what that meant, until the fact that you just said it's just old paint. And
it's old paint.
I love the, you know, the sort of faded color and the simplicity of that. It's really sweet. And I love the sort of broken landscape that I'm seeing in it anyway.
I wanted to hear what you thought. It's hard to make a comeback.
Yeah, I
It's
appreciate
a
that.
comparison
And
of a world.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think you should keep at it. This
Yeah,
is
keep
really,
going.
really, really sweet.
I hope to work bigger, and at this time, I'm just using whatever I have.
That's
But
all
I
we can
told
do.
Yeah.
when I it seems like I've had so many starts and stops. So I've carried a list of paints around for, oh my gosh, over 10 years. It's just not the right time. But whatever I've been given, I've used. So yeah. So the original box of paints started me, but this was another box of somebody's old paints. This is what I opened up. This is what I came upon, and of course I know whatever I purchased today, it's gonna the colors are gonna be so different. They'll be a little brighter. It's just
Yeah.
different about using things that are so old.
Yeah.
I guess I consider that another that's a privilege too, to have access to that. Someone else doesn't have that same access. So
Mhm.
Sure.
again, when I knew that I had something and this little boy didn't care for it, he had said he wanted to paint with me, but then he said no, and then of course no, I couldn't waste it. So
Yeah.
I did a few of these, and I would call them a painterly sketch as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like them.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Thank you,
Thanks so
and I
much.
really appreciate today. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you, Margaret. All right.
Have you heard of Faye Jones?
Andy.
I wanted to mention her.
Oh.
That's all right.
Andy Tubsting?
Is Andy here? Let's see.
I don't see Andy.
Shoot.
Oh.
I know these
We had,
look
we
like
had,
a lot
we
of
had a
fun.
number of artists who used found objects in really fascinating ways. I loved the little worlds that he was creating.
Yeah, that looks, I would definitely want to see that one in person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just want to keep moving in case. Is Clara here?
No, I don't see Clara.
That's too bad.
What about Patrick?
Yes, Patrick is in the room.
Yeah, I'm here.
Great. Hi, Patrick.
Hi there. Thanks for including me. I'm really honored and glad to be with all of these artists and part of this group show. So this is a lithograph. It's a stone lithograph I made, and it's a series of prints that are reacting to climate change in different ways that we kind of think of the world as it's evolving or changing, I guess. So the title of this is This Island's on Fire. I originally made it in response to the Tubbs fire in Northern California. That's where my wife is from. And we visited there after a lot of that, her hometown had burnt down. But this print has kind of increased kind of connections to different ways of change. Thinking of destruction as change, thinking of destruction as obviously what it is. It's a print I made in last summer, and just things keep kind of happening that give this print kind of more relevance. So in this series, I have these floating hands as the suggestion of sort of human interaction, and obviously in this one, it's just a match. So I guess that's mostly what it's about. I can keep that kind of short.
Thank you. I'm glad that we're looking at this one right after we looked at Margaret's little painting, because I see them both, I could see them hanging together on a wall, you know, because they both have this sort of disintegrating quality. And both of them look like they, you know, could be watercolors or you know, are very kind of sketchy. And Patrick, with yours, I mean, you get the obvious tree in the hand and everything, but it also kind of dissolves a bit. And I struggled with yours because I really liked everything that you entered, and it was really hard to choose one to put in the show. But I also have been, I think a lot about our climate and our you know, our world, a lot of problems that we get involved with to my mind, pale in comparison to taking care of the earth. And I, as soon as I saw that hand, I thought, oh man, the fact that this one spark can cause that kind of damage, like the fires we've seen in Australia and California and plenty of places, is just heartbreaking. And a lot of the work that's in the show has a lot of references to the earth, but also its transformation, lots of found objects, lots of sort of little worlds made out of man-made things and non-man-made things that look like there's a mix between the biological world and the man-made world. So this was kind of a bridge piece for me, I think, because it kind of references both.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. I very
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. Lila, are you still here, Lila?
I'm here.
Yay. Thanks, Lila. Sorry, this has gone over a bit, so thanks for sticking with us.
Okay, so this piece is part of a series, and the germ of the idea happened a number of years ago, and it deals partly with observation and memory and capturing the moment. And it originally started with views of the crib out of, that's 5 miles out from Edgewater. And but that's not where I am anymore. So part of it is that challenge of combining those things and capturing that moment, the challenge of working with the oil sticks, and combining different kinds of energy between the layering of the color and the strokes, and working with drawing and the oil sticks. It's a process I return to often over a course of many years in between other projects.
Thank you, Lila. Lila's another artist that I know, and it was really exciting for me to find out today that I chose this work not knowing that you had made it. I'm not surprised because I'm always interested in your work, but it seems a bit more abstracted, and I really loved seeing this, almost this aurora borealis and the kind of earth/wave thing going on below, and how that could be seen as dirt or metal or water. I really liked that that this landscape with a horizon line could be, and it's really simple. And I think maybe because it's been so simplified, you can see more in it, maybe, for me.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
Do you have a series of these?
Yeah, they're 23 in all.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So it was all, that horizon line is very important, where the sky meets the water.
Mm-hmm.
And just exploring that, the shifting, part of it is that shifting relationship between the two, and the subtleties of the changes of values and how they'll exchange color and intensity. It's sort of a never-ending challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Lila.
Thanks, Lila.
Thanks for having me. This is pretty awesome.
Let's see, Gwen.
I'm here. I don't know if.
Hi, Gwen. Yeah, we can hear you.
Hi. Okay.
Hi.
Good. My piece is called Tenuous, and it's made out of styrofoam that I found while walking on the shores of Lake Michigan. And it's made of styrofoam and mirrors and gold foil and screen mesh.
Wow.
And it kind of is an interplay of fragility, because like just working with styrofoam, is a fragile material to try and work with, because you can't really glue to it. You can't, it's really hard to attach things. So it's that whole, you know, that's in the title, the tenuous relationship. And it has not only to do with the material and the artist working together, but our relationship with the environment, our, you know, relationship to mortality and lasting. So there's a lot of interplay and dependent relationships going on in the piece.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. We've got the detail. Yeah, it's really beautiful. And I'm always surprised when I see a found object being used in a way that is surprising to me, because this looked like sponge or stone.
Yeah, somebody said that they thought it was limestone or sandstone.
Yeah.
Sandstone.
You know, it could be, but it was really fascinating to find out that it's just, you know, styrofoam, and it makes sense that you found it on a beach, because it is, you know, beach weathered, and sort of manipulated for you. And I assume you added all those circular mirrors.
Yeah. And that in itself, well, that, you know, that is, again, it's kind of a play on, you know, the environment and what we do. And so a reflection back on ourselves and a reflection back at the piece, and just the nature of being contemplative about something. And so, yeah, those little mirrors are all carved out into the styrofoam.
It's really beautiful as an object.
Yeah.
And I love the color palette.
And you know, some of it was given to me as far as like what happens in the water. And then I added some too with when I would add the foil to it, because it was an idea of taking something that was discarded and almost, you know, you can't recycle styrofoam. And so adding the gold foil to it really kind of added, like, I wanted to add value, like that this is valuable to me. Like, I find this intensely valuable. So.
Well, yeah, and I applaud anyone that can take, and a lot of the work that I chose, because obviously I'm making the choices, and I'm attracted to things that I'm attracted to. You know, I can't help myself. But I just so appreciate someone that can take, you know, garbage and stuff on the beach and make it really lush. And Gwen is another artist whose work I've seen before, and this was another surprise to me, because I hadn't seen work like this from you. And I just think it's really, really elegant, and you've, you know, really elevated this stuff, and it's much more painterly than a usual sort of found object sculpture. And I find that really fascinating, and really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And and again, looking at these again and having these conversations, it's really showing me how desperately I want to see these things in the gallery. I want to see how they work together.
I do too. There's so many materials that I'm finding out about that I'm like, I need to see this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about seeing other people's work so much.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Gwen. It's really beautiful. Okay. Let's see. Are we? Ian. Is Ian here? Let me see if I can.
I don't see Ian in the room.
Okay. I think Harris is here, right?
Yes,
He's still here. Harris, if you're here, you might need to unmute yourself to talk.
Oh, I hope
he will
get kicked.
Let me see. Maybe no longer. Shoot.
No.
Oh, no. Okay, we have
I
gone
really
over.
love these deep black backgrounds on these silk screens. They're just so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if he pops back on, then one can talk to him. Anna?
No.
No,
Okay.
Anna? Oh, I'm
No,
fascinated
Anna.
with those little things.
No, they're fun.
Sherry?
Love this face.
Sherry Wolf?
Lucy?
No.
Okay.
Shoot. I
love
want
that
that
piece
story
too.
really bad.
Yeah. Denise?
Denise is in the room.
Yay.
Here we go.
I love this one.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for staying. Sorry, we've gone over a bit.
So this is the detail. But you have the whole piece?
Oh,
I do.
Oh, do you have it there?
No way.
Oh, good.
The entire piece. You have a detail.
That is a detail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But can I just start off by saying I am the Denise of John that survived cancer. That the painting.
Wow.
Oh
So
my
you're both
gosh.
in the show?
Oh,
That's
here
so
I am.
exciting.
That's so great.
I'm alive.
I love that.
The victory chair.
That's so great.
But
So,
my
can you-
background is in graphic design, and but my true love is fiber and collage. Yeah, come on over. John. And so this piece reflects both of those disciplines.
Yeah.
And I
Hold
just
it up a little bit closer to the camera on the, yeah, thank you. Nice. Okay.
Great.
So this is a process. There's my husband, John. He just waved. I don't know if you saw him.
You did.
But this is a process, or this is a style that I've just recently started exploring. And it combines vintage photography with photography that I've taken. So the background is a mausoleum, a photo of a mausoleum I took at Lakeview Cemetery. And then the vintage photo is a photo of me in my Aunt Margie's backyard in New Jersey with her little pet parakeet. And so this vintage photo spoke to me and made me realize that it represented my struggles throughout my life to overcome my fears. And so I'm always been trying to emerge out of my cage. And this is even hard for me to do, just be here speaking like this, but I'm going to do it and get through it. And so what I did was combine those digitally, and then the birds in flight represent what I'm striving to be, like free, and the colorful birds are a symbol of what I've been continuing to work on my whole life. And I get the image printed on fabric, and that's when the fun begins. And I go to thrift stores and I buy I buy clothing and sort of breathe new life into the clothing by using it as the border. And then my stitching kind of incorporates the background and the foreground, and I put some stuffing in so things are three-dimensional. And
Wow.
but it's called Flight for Life because it kind of represents all I've been working toward my whole life.
Wow.
Thank you for sharing that, Denise. I knew that there was multiple stories buried in this piece, so I'm really happy to hear them. And I love your.
There's a plane going over the. Hold on. What? What?
Oh,
you couldn't hear. Sorry.
There's a
I
plane.
really love your storytelling and your use of found fabric and the layers of the landscape sort of engulfing this small child and the little caged bird. It really looks like an illustration for maybe a children's story or something.
Yeah.
I really read it as a you know, a narrative. So I'm happy to hear your story.
Yes, thank you. It does tell a story, and it's my story. So
it's always the best story to tell.
So thank you. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't wait to see that in person, and we'll put the full image also on the website too.
Oh,
so we'll add that. Yeah.
Congratulations to both of you. It's exciting that you're in together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's so fun.
Happy to know that.
It was so fun that we both got in. We were just so thrilled.
Yeah, that's just great.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, Noah.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I don't know how to change my name, so I'm currently my roommate's name.
Oh,
but
right. He was here last time. Yes, we heard about you. Great.
Yeah, so this is some new work that I've been up to. I'm a drawing major at CIA. I'm a senior. I'm a rising senior. But I've been really interested in like ceramics and how I can almost treat ceramics and like put it on a wall. And so I've been creating these panels that I've been like working on top of and kind of building out in a sculptural manner, but also keeping this idea of like fine art portraiture and like sculpting on almost as if I'm drawing. But yeah, so I've also I was really inspired by, I'm not sure if y'all have read this art or this essay called Rosalind Krauss's The Grid. But I've been really interested in how they have this, she was talking about this relation between flatness and self-reflection, and also bringing up windows is also being like these like ideas of self-reflection in the work. So I've been thinking about that and how like there's this flatness in cubism, and I was really inspired by cubism and how I can like almost treat these panels as kind of windows into this world of ceramics, which often in the drawing department I feel as if I'm a little bit of an outsider working with ceramics. But, yeah.
Well, that's really fascinating to hear, because there was a couple of artists that I was a bit confounded by as I was trying to jury, because they would have 2 sculptures in one print, or like 3 drawings in one piece of ceramics, and I'm like, what is this person doing? Where they're coming from? And yours, actually, I was attracted to everything, but I was really intrigued by this one because it also reads like, because of the 3 panels, it reads like a comic book, and we're getting the story sort of told to us in parts, but we're also getting it told to us in dimension because of the drawings, kind of leaping out at us. And it seems, even actually rather exaggerated for a carved ceramic panel. And it's surprising to me too that something that's clearly so dimensional can still look so drawn. So congratulations, because clearly you're doing it as a drawing major in clay. Which is probably confounding to both faculty areas.
Yeah.
Are you doing more? Is this character, the ceramic man? Are these characters reappearing for you, or is this sort of a one-off?
I've always been really interested into like kind of exaggerating certain features. I've been really interested in cubism. But this particular character is not like a one-off or anything. It's just the way I make my work. I often exaggerate a feature and blow it up a little bit. In a lot of my drawings, it's like that. But this is the first of like I've done of these panels. So I'm thinking about seeing how far I can stretch out this world of like ceramics and like really have some of these like body parts and arms like jutting out of the panels. So, but
have you thought about not segregating the drawings and the ceramics and maybe start combining them? Because I could see, 2 panels of ceramics and 1 of a drawing.
Yeah, there's this one artist, I'm lost at their name right now, but they work with just like black slip, and they work on top of like porcelain, and they make these beautiful drawings. And I'm thinking about maybe incorporating that type of work in like my drawings in with this a little bit more and really try to bridge that gap. But yeah, I've been thinking about that.
Cool. Great work.
Thank you so
Noah.
much.
Thank you, Noah.
Bye, all.
Bye, thank you. Evian. No.
Not here? Oh, dang.
Darn.
This is another one I'm really excited to see in person, and another one that sort of melds that macroscopic, microscopic, and biological. You know, this looks like it could be a plant or a shell, but it's fabric. You know, I'm really interested to see how this one feels in the room with some of the other work.
Yeah.
Evian has entered before, and
Oh yeah,
they've been in it before. Yeah. Yeah.
These are really, really nice to see in person.
Yeah.
Was that the last one?
Yes, I think it is the last one. And I'm sorry, I think we may have lost a few artists along the way, but I so appreciate everybody that has stayed and talked to us.
Yeah, thank you all so much. I really appreciate all the artists' generosity tonight for letting us know about where you're coming from with all your work. I can't wait to see this in person. And I'm now that we've done the third one of these, I'm really excited to see how some of these works speak to each other. And I just can't wait to see them physically. I'm looking forward to seeing human beings again too.
Oh, I know.
Actual physical art and physical people.
Yep. Yeah. No, this is a really nice show, and it's going to be fun to put together in the galleries. So.
Yeah, I can't wait to hang
we
this
look
one.
forward to seeing everybody there, and
I have a question.
a little bit of the nice. Oh yeah, go ahead, Karen.
I see that this is being recorded. Is there a possibility for us to get a copy?
Sure. Yeah, we can email you a link to it.
Second question. You know, throughout history, we see, you know, groups of artists just take the most. They now get amazing, you know, like Paris or Hudson River or whatever, you know, groups of artists that come together and talk to one another. And here, not only personal, which is important, that's why we do it in the first place, but our conversation with the elements and principles of design and art, and which ones we grab a hold of and gravitate to in order to push forward our works, inclusive of mediums and materials. And I don't know if like we can, it'd be so cool to continue. I mean,
yeah, it would be. I think like these critiques are really, I mean, this is not exactly a critique, but I think that they are having a community of artists to talk with after you leave. You know, for those artists that went to art school, I know that is a common concern when the students are leaving. It's like the thing they say the most to me is like, I'm not sure where I'm going to find my community, you know, and even in our arts district where there are many artists living, there still doesn't seem to be something that's easily accessible for artists to have that conversation on a regular basis. So I think it is something that we need to work on.
To share maybe
for that.
An email database. And speaking to you, Arnold, you know, it's like for those of like, I have 3 openings, one in Colorado, one in Washington, this one, that one, and they're on Zoom. And it's so wonderful. I'm so happy that you're here, because you enter these competitions and they're hilarious, because some of them have 4, 5 reviews, you know, and then it's over. You get in, you don't. So hearing your voice and your thoughts and your perspective, it's a gift, and I thank you.
Well, thank you, because it's, I'm also a working artist. I'm a photographer, and I have entered these kinds of things. I've been in them. I've been kicked out of them. And then now that I've been in this position and at the museum, I've been jurying them a lot. So I know the, you know, the angst of these, and it's easier to be in a one-person show than it is to be in a group show, because you're bearing your soul to a lot of people as opposed to just yourself. And then you've got this, you know, this person who's making a decision about whose work is being shown together. So I take it really seriously. So it's been an honor these last 3 weeks to actually be able to share what I was thinking, because oftentimes these things get thrown together and people are like, oh, I got on this show, I kind of don't know why, and they picked this one that I did a while ago, you know. So there's often a lot of things that go, you know, unsaid or unexpressed. So this has been a real pleasure.
Well, and Arnie, I think you really raised the bar. So I'm sorry for the jurors that come after you. Yeah. But we hope you still tune in.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
And we will give you information about the in-person show that we hope will happen soon. Take care. Good night.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.